Despite not being in the MCU anymore, Tony Stark and his legacy, particularly his tech, will be jeopardized, with Don Cheadle, his best friend there along with some other characters on the hunt to not let advanced Stark tech fall into the wrong hands, a story that will probably be set in a different project that will precede Armor Wars, and with that in mind, let's dive right in. The momentum the MCU is keeping up for more than a decade now is pretty awesome, and one of the reasons for that is the Disney Plus platform, which introduced us to the Marvel series that have had a lot of impact ever since the first one that released, WandaVision, back in January 2021. Moving away from what we have the Disney Plus series that turned into a movie, today we have Armor Wars, a project that was first of its kind to be turned from a series into a movie. And there might be a reason for that, I'm sure of it. But it's one we don't know yet, and will probably come through the way the project at hand will work when it gets released during late 2024 or early 2025, events that will probably occur after the multiverse saga and after the war with Kang. The Iron Man spin-off movie is yet another in the line of developments at Marvel Studios, a movie about which there are little to no details. However, seeing the title of the movie and there being a comic book storyline with the same name, I think there's a picture as to what the series will eventually be, with some alterations, something Marvel uses more often than not when adapting certain events and storylines from the comics into the MCU. The first big change in the movie's story, when compared to the comics, will probably be that it'll take after the events of Secret Invasion, yet another storyline that is getting adapted into the MCU through a Disney Plus series that will, in fact, come very earlier than Armor Wars, so the connection will probably not be there. So Marvel will probably adapt a different connection, one that will fit the MCU. The only connection will probably be that Don Cheadle's War Machine, who was confirmed of starring as a supporting character in the Secret Invasion series, but other than that, we'll probably get a whole new version of the Armor Wars storyline, but still one that will capture the essence of it, however, this time without Tony Stark.
Who here hasn't been to space?
Why?
You better not throw up on my ship.
The original story was a 7-issue written by David Michelinie and Bob Layton in 1987. The story covered Tony Stark's discovery of some bad people stealing from him, particularly the Iron Man technology, after which he goes on a hunt to retrieve everything that was stolen from him. The live-action adaptation, however, will have to tell the story without Tony Stark in it. This brings me toward Don Cheadle and his character, who will take the stage and step in Tony's shoes and honor his legacy by going after everyone that stole from his best friend's technology. The absence of Tony will be visual, however, it'll not be the center of the story, but rather a recurring thing throughout the movie that will make you question yourselves, was Tony this important, and just how much he has done over the years for the MCU.
What are you doing?
Speaking of Don Cheadle and his James Rhodes War Machine, I turned my focus to him because he had some things to say about his first big project for Marvel. In an interview, Don Cheadle hinted that a rich potential is in sight for the movie and for the people to see the real Rhodey.
Focus groups, all right?
I am Iron Patriot.
Listen, War Machine was a little too aggressive, all right? This sends a better message.
And more of his personal story now that he's outside of the other's shadow, particularly Stark's. Being an essential character of the MCU so far, ever since the start of everything, this movie will be an exciting prospect for the fans. And what are the things that we're gonna see from Rhodey when he hits that like button, just like you should if you haven't done so already? But no, in all seriousness, what are the things that Rhodey will present himself in the series? Especially now that there are a lot more things on his shoulders. The other thing that has been said about the series is that the fans will see a whole different version of the character, quite the opposite of how we've been seeing him so far and everything we got accustomed to. Not much is known about the cast of the movie, with so many loose ends yet to be tied. Speaking of which, over the last few weeks, there has been a rumor about a mystery Yelena Belova movie appearance. Could that movie be Armor Wars? Tell us what you think. Because let's face it, the components are there, and why the news now, why not before? Everything seems to be connected. Outside of being a War Machine-centered movie, if the story is remotely close to the one in the comics, don't be surprised to see the other MCU characters getting involved in the entire mess, and one of those characters could very well be Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. She could be one Cheadle asked for help from, with her talents being just what the entire crusade needs, a helpful thing to have during a certain degree of espionage involved. This duo would be an interesting one because of their differences in how they see people in the world, their take on it, and how to handle a certain situation, a dynamic that could be shown in the movie to some extent. The other character that could return from past Marvel projects is Pepper Potts' rescue armor. After we saw it last time during the events of Avengers Endgame, she's clearly one of Tony's more recent examples of the impact on the world of the MCU, with her return being a perfect ode to Stark, allowing the original MCU superhero's wife to carry on his legacy, something I connected because of the fact that the movie is tightly connected towards Tony's legacy. Speaking of rescue and Pepper Potts, the return of the character could also point toward where some of the movie's story could go, and Pepper's possession of the rescue suit in the middle of Don Cheadle's overarching story dealing with Stark Tech being acquired by nefarious forces. The Sokovia Accords have been revoked, thus nothing can stop Pepper from wearing the suit and operating as a superhero, either fighting together with Rhodey or even potentially working as a vigilante in her free time trying to avenge her husband, and Rhodey is there to smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell, but in reality, stop Pepper's onslaught and take the rescue armor away from her. This would be an interesting twist on Pepper's story so far, with the fans finally seeing some other side of Pepper, a different one to the Pepper we've been seeing so far.
What? Oh, what, are you mad at me?
The trailer of Secret Invasion subtly points to an Armor Wars set up with the help of Tony Stark's creation, the Arc Reactor. And the series itself will be a crucial one because Kevin Feige confirmed that the series will actually tie directly into the Armor Wars movie, but what exactly am I talking about? Well, during the trailer, we can see Emilia Clarke's character walking into a Russian laboratory which seems to have some form of an arc reactor building in it, with scientists working on it, with the structure itself being a clear callback to the arc reactor scene in the first Iron Man movie. Everything points towards the Skrulls invading Earth to steal advanced Stark tech, something that could tie in directly with the Armor Wars movie and all that was stolen to be taken back. However, why would the Skrulls even want an arc reactor? The story of why the Skrulls want the Tesseract, or if they want Nick Fury's character to catch him and learn more about him from him, or any other theory could very well be the one that Marvel will go with, a story that will go together with the future plans Marvel intends to turn into future projects of the MCU, as well as how the movies will look and feel like. Whatever the case may be, one thing is clear, there's a strong connection between these two projects with a story that will be jam-packed with callbacks with more to come to light in the near future. See you in the next video.